This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Oh, it's a good opportunity to catch up with our good friend David Williams from the Perth Glory. It's been a while. We haven't
like
seen
that,
him.
the way he went, oh, Shaun.
I didn't say
You did.
We all
Don't
did it.
worry, we're all thinking it.
I'm very happy to see David.
Well, David was at our
brightens our
last
day.
show of the year last year. And then after that, you kicked a winning goal for the Glory.
We were so proud. We
To-
thought, you know what? We're so glad he's part of the
Pluck a
team.
victory where it had been a bit of a dry spell.
It had been that.
That was
big time.
amazing.
Yeah, Brisbane, which where I started my career
Yeah.
in 2006 January, and then last goal, basically last full game was back in Brisbane on Suncorp. So unfortunately got injured the next game.
Yeah,
and-
so then you blew your knee out.
Yeah, but look,
And Brisbane find themselves at the bottom of the table.
I know for that. So it's not nice being in the bottom of the table. but,
Doldrums?
Yeah, we're down there this season, unfortunately, which is not the way we wanted to go. I was very optimistic when I first arrived in the studio pre-season.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you've always got to have that mentality going that you're going to succeed and
Yeah, of
have that.
course.
So I probably wouldn't change what I would have said. So
Yep. No doubt.
Yeah. So let's talk about your blown knee. When that happens, are you terrified that it's going to be a recurring thing? And is it a recurring thing?
at this age, I'm probably a little bit
You're so
thinking about that. Look, it's one of those ones where I don't have to rush the rehab.
Surgery?
Surgery's already done.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
What did we do? ACL?
ACL reconstruction. yeah.
bummer.
So just in rehab now.
And a root canal.
Doing.
You always have to get a root canal. And that's the most
He goes to
expensive
this
part.
cheap doctor, but
David,
I had a root canal in Hungary because the dentist there is very, very cheap. So people from Austria and around of Europe come over to Hungary. I was playing there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So here with private health, you're looking at 800 to
Yeah.
1,000.
I know.
Cost me $120.
But
come on.
knowing they're going to go in with a jagged hook and
Yes.
then rip the still living
nerve.
nerve out of your
Yeah.
tooth, I will pay the $800.
Yes. But now you've got a real taste for goulash.
Yeah. Delicious food, yeah.
Hey, Dave, I want to, obviously you've got a big game against Sydney FC this weekend. Previously, last weekend, it was the 1-0 loss to Melbourne, but there was a heap of draws in a row. So there seems to be some green shoots. Would that be fair?
Yeah, definitely. There's, there was a point where we thought we turned a page of, the big losses and stuff like that. We still had a couple of losses, but we've recruited well in this
Little window.
This window,
Yep.
yeah. So we've got a lot more experience now coming in. And I just think that we can still build momentum. Whether or not we get the results or not, I still think it strengthens the squad. And at least for the people turning up to HBF and supporting us when
Well,
we're
there was a
playing
record
away.
crowd the other week.
Yeah.
I know because I was trying to go to something at the Brisbane hotel and all the parking was gone and it was 12 deep at the bar and I'm like, oh, come on. And then I
before
saw
the
that
game.
more than 11,000 people turned up. Amazing
So it's
crowd.
great.
Before the game for Nat, can you just put a witch's
Yes.
hat somewhere?
That's right. Just on one
you get
parking
it early,
spot.
just one witch's hat.
All right, I'll get that. I'll give you my parking pass.
Thank
for
you.
HBF.
Thank
Just
you. That'd be
walk down.
great.
Look, it's a momentum builder type feeling we have at the club. So, we take 1 or 2 games and the people start coming because they love football here and there's a big enough, population to come and see us. And
Yes.
Yep.
Fans are sticking by you for
huge
sure.
history of Perth Glory
Yeah.
pre-A-League in the NSL.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I grew up watching a bit of that. Some, big, massive Socceroos who have come out of Perth Glory as well. So with that momentum, like big clubs over on the east, they might take 4 or 5 games on a roll to then start
Yes.
getting a crowd where, we're lucky in that sense to have a lot of good support. So,
Yeah.
it sucks for me that unfortunately I won't be able to
Dave.
experience that, but hopefully I'll be there,
So you're just hanging
with my
around. What do you
kids
do?
watching. Yeah,
You still
literally.
go down to training
I'll
and
do
everything?
training.
I'm at training. I do
Get
I've got-
autographs?
for my kids.
What do you do? You put the witches' hats out and stuff? Is that your job?
No, well, not yet. They'll get me doing that soon. So.
We were talking about school earlier on. You might have heard it when you were driving in. And if you're at my school, Eastern Goldfields Senior High School, you definitely would have dated one of the home ec girls straight away.
Look, so I did home ec as a kid. And I am glad I did it because I went out as a 17-year-old living over in Denmark for quite a few years.
So wait, and from my home ec experience, you would have left with the skills to make a Chinese dinner called Hello Men, and you would have had
a lot
the
of mince.
ability to make a pair of board shorts because that's what we learned.
Look,
the sewing machine.
So I did sewing as well. Not
Yep.
that I'd learnt too much for there, but my brother and I were the only two Aboriginal kids in the school. So we went to this private school in Brisbane, and the home ec teacher was Aboriginal. So every time that the kids would come at lunchtime, try to, the smell of food is coming from there, she'd shoo everyone away except my brother. Andy and Dave come in, so we got fed and looked after there, which is really good.
Are you kidding?
That was the best class, knowing that you would go in there and you'd learn to make something, but you would sit there and eat it. And still to this day, my kids come home from school and they're like, had home ec and they've just had a big feed.
I
love it. That was so loose. We were in one class, right, and then the teacher allowed us to leave our class. I think it was like English or whatever. We left our class. We went to home ec. We got we went to the science lab. We got a brain. We went to home ec. We cooked it up with garlic and stuff, and then we took it back to the class and people were trying it as chicken. And the teacher knew we were doing it and they allowed it. And that was like prank at the end. That was allowed and actually encouraged. Is that not insane?
It's creativity.
Yeah, isn't it? So,
He hasn't eaten an organ in since.
When you went to Denmark as a 17-year-old, what was the skill? What did you make? What were you eating? Because it's a lot of herring and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, over there. So when I first initially moved in to the house, it was with 4 other players. So there was a house mum who kind of cooked for us. So I didn't do as much cooking. She's very old, very tanned,
so
and she was great at making potatoes. So there was the 4 hungry boys who would be training.
Yeah, she had to carb you up, basically.
Yeah. So by the end of it, you're pickling your own cod?
Do you know what? I binge watching Prison Break when I was over there.
So that's a while ago.
That was the vibe.
So you've seen how to pickle a cod?
Were you in Copenhagen or were you in some small town?
Yeah, I was in Copenhagen.
Yeah,
well, just outside, outskirts. So
amazing. I really, it's amazing for me to people that have lived overseas and So the time I went to Amsterdam, I went, oh my god, I could live here.
Yeah.
The people
And you were there for 2 weeks.
and the people that actually lived there, like Cambo, Ryan Campbell. Like that. You've never lived overseas? Actually,
No,
you haven't.
No,
that's a really amazing experience for someone
especially
so
as a
young.
17-year-old.
Yeah, and it set me up for kind of life and where I am today. A lot of experiences.
Was it difficult, by the way, Dave? Never asked you that.
It was difficult, but I had the goal in mind that I wanted to be a professional footballer, so that kind of took away all, being homesick. And I always say to a lot of kids especially, if you make sacrifices and are committed, they're the 2 main things that I think that'll make you professional at anything. Yeah. You can have an attitude problem here and there, but then coaches still look at your quality and skill and still give you a game, or you could be late and, disrupt the team a little bit, but you're still given a chance. But if you can't make sacrifices and, leave your mates or not, go to bed early and do this
not be out partying, all of that. Yeah,
exactly.
I've got a cultural question.
Oh, yes, go.
My cultural question for you, right, is because we know the haka, right? So, and then it feels like every New Zealand person knows how to do the haka. For the Aboriginal community, we see you're dancing, right? Do you were you made to do it, and did you know what you're doing, and was it comfortable?
No.
And has Ray Gun sued you because you used to move?
Look, one thing that I've take from the last little while is I probably haven't connected as much as what I should have with my culture. Only because as a young kid I've grown up in a normal house.
Normal house.
In that sense of there was still food on the table.
Yes.
I think my parents still would live week to week or month to month, but we didn't really struggle, and Dad found ways of getting me, great football boots, sponsored or this or that. So we felt like we never went without. So in that sense, because I grew up that way, I never went
the wombat dance.
Well, look, there was times that I've tried to dance and whatnot, and I'm just like, don't even try.
We saw the Indigenous All-Stars do it before the footy the other day.
So
that was actually amazing.
Everyone because we at school got taught to warring pants, as the Aboriginal kids would have as well. But I thought, do you guys in your community all know the kangaroo story and the?
Look, in a short answer, no. It's you going to discover, and I think it should be taught more so in schools as well about our history while we're learning about, American history.
European history, for sure.
Us. So, not that I feel ashamed about not knowing enough, but there's still time to go and connect. So,
brilliant, David.
I'll wombat dance anytime.
No worries.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Couple of AFL scratchies. Yesterday we saw that West Coast Eagles were too good for Richmond, 36 points in that one. It was funny because I was watching Fox Sports this morning and they were talking about they were talking about Richmond were missing some players.
Yeah.
And then I go, well, what about the West Coast Eagles? Because this is how East Coast centric everything is.
Yeah.
What about McGovern and no Kelly because he played in the Indigenous North and no Harley Reid?
Yeah.
Both
We're
teams
always
are
the
missing
last
players.
weather.
Both teams are
Yes,
missing
of course
players.
they are.
And by the way, Richmond's going to finish last, even if Tom Lynch plays from round one the whole season.
Also,
They're gonna
settle down.
finish
It's the
last.
pre-season. Like, come on.
I haven't started.
In a few years' time, Richmond will be good because they've got all the draft picks, but they're not good and they won't be, and the West Coast Eagles won't be either. So there.
But as long as they're slightly better than Richmond, that's all that matters.
That's right. Bailey Smith made his first appearance for the Geelong Cats yesterday.
How do we feel about this?
Well, he was wearing a bloody headband,
I know.
white headband. Nah, I can't have it.
Who? What?
Bailey Smith.
White headband.
But haven't the AFL said he
Like
can't
the
wear it or
Karate
something?
Kid, like
When you
Daniel.
start taking accessories too seriously,
won't be able to
as
wear
a
that in the
man,
game.
Yeah.
I think that there's some issues behind that.
So why can't he wear it in the game? What's the story?
Because it could be choking hazard.
Probably.
He could really
has
just
to be
pull it down
flesh
off
coloured
his-
or has to have an AFL logo on it. I don't know what the
Yeah.
reason was. I'll have to find that out for you now.
So is this going to be his thing? Do you think this is his transition because he wants to get rid of the mullet, but yet everyone knows it as mullet, so then he'll transition to the white headband guy so people can still differentiate between
I mean, it worked for
the
Pat
fact that he's
Cash.
special?
Yes.
Like, honestly,
I know, honestly, no, because we know that realistically, how many people...
He wants to get rid of that mullet because he knows he is way hotter without it because we've seen it. So he get rid of the mullet and then that's his thing. Branding, Shaun. Branding and moniker.
The biggest news of the day is that Kyrie Irving could be playing for the Boomers in the 2028 Olympics. Now, his
amazing.
father is an Australian. When he had the opportunity, when he was first drafted in the NBA as the best player in college basketball, was to say that he'll be
He
with
can
Australia.
nominate, yeah, that's
he
right.
said, no, I'm a US guy, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a 9-time All-Star. So Luka Doncic, who was traded from the Mavericks to LA, Kyrie Irving plays for the Mavericks. They've just gone, no, we trust him to be the number one guy.
We'll keep him.
And
Yeah.
get
Shaun,
him
I've got a
going.
question, right?
That's how good he is.
As a country, I
Yep.
mean, this is great, right?
Yep.
But say you've liked someone for 10 years.
Yes.
And then every year you've tried to go out with them. They said, no. And they're going with hot girls. And then at the end, when they break up with the hottest girl and they realise that they can't really get those hot girls anymore, then they give you a look in. Is that how we're going to feel? Or are we
Yes,
just
but we'll
excited
still
to
take
like
him.
one to get a slice?
So he has
Take the
played.
opportunity
How are we
and
gonna,
move on.
So are we going to be excited that no one's going to hold a grudge? We're just happy?
Look, I totally get it. I held a grudge for such a long time,
You
but
do.
he can't get a game for the American Olympic
he has
team.
done before,
He wasn't,
yes?
and he
Yes.
wasn't selected in the last one. Him playing for our team would make us so...
But it is, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. That's how we get Debbie Gibson and stuff. It's like when their careers are done and no one else wants them, then we get...
He's still one of the top few basketballers in the world.
But not as
And
good
so
as he was
Paddy-
before.
Oh, no, he's having a bloody good season.
I'm just reading. I'm just vibing from you, mate.
My vibe is him playing in the Australian
We want him.
Boomers team is unbelievable.
My vibe
Paddy
is we
Mills
want
is
him.
hardly scoring these days, doesn't
Yeah.
spend much time on the field.
Paddy's-
He comes in as a genuine
Yeah.
NBA talent scorer. And then Dyson Daniels, as we know, the great barrier
Dyson.
thief. You
I
remember
love
that
it.
one before,
Yep,
Nate?
yep.
He's still dominating defensively.
Yep. They call him the stick.
There's a lot of big guys that are still
Yep.
playing in the NBA at the moment.
Dante Exum had a great game the other week.
Well, he just keeps coming
Yeah.
back from injury. He
Dante
found himself
Exum
in
sounds
Europe
like
there.
petrol, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Well, he was a top 5 draft pick
Yeah.
when he first
He's
was
a great
drafted.
player. He's just been
Ben
injured.
Simmons
Yes.
is not without a chance of doing the same if Kyrie's playing.
Yeah.
And he's just been traded to the Clippers because no one really wants him anymore, but he's still
He's
on
got
this high
attitudinal
salary.
issues,
He's
doesn't he?
6'10",
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he defends like a maniac.
Yeah, but a
he
6
can't score to save himself. But
he's
Yeah,
nasty.
don't let him do it for
None of his teammates in sport, and believe me, we speak to sport people all the time for many years. They do not badmouth their teammates. The fact that people were badmouthing him on his team publicly really speaks volumes. It really does.
when he puts the green and gold on, I don't know. Is it
Yeah.
going to be a
Ben
Nick
Simmons?
Kyrgios
Are we talking-
situation
Yeah,
where we
this
all
could
go,
be
hey,
his
you win, you're in.
redemption arc. Yeah.
But this team, going forward with that talent, if Kyrie's able to play for the Boomers, is going to be amazing.
Okay, so we're
Okay,
looking at the
Boomer.
LA Olympics is what we're talking about, yeah?
Yes.
2028. All right, bring it on.
So should there be the tagline, okay, boomers?
Okay, Boomers.
Like, literally,
Yeah, that's
why would
funny.
it be, okay,
That's so
Boomers?
funny.
They should do.
Yeah, I know.
Embrace it.
It's big news for
It
us.
is big news.
Okay, boomers.
Next, you're going to say that Bryce Cotton's an Australian.
There was reports the other day. You know when they were writing about him, the fact that he won the MVP?
Yeah. Yep.
Everyone kept writing, an American, blah, blah, blah. No, he wanted to be an Australian, but we weren't able to do it.
Mate,
Someone
It's
stuffed up the
literally a
paperwork and he went to the
issue.
back of the line.
he could.
Crazy.
He could save the life of Vegemite itself, and they still wouldn't give it to him. I don't understand.
What street is Vegemite Street?
One Vegemite Way in Bega. Write that down.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.